the wisdom behind President Donald Trump's proposal for Gaza. Many reactions to Trump's characteristic proposal that the inhabitants of Gaza be resettled in other countries, Jordan and Egypt preferably, and that Gaza should be reconstructed from ground zero, from scratch. What are we to think about it? And if you don't mind, what do I think about this? That's the substance of this very brief video. Now, to give Donald Trump the credit that is due to him, he is realistic in coming to the conclusion, tragic as it is, that Gaza has become unlivable and it cannot sustain a population of 2.3 million people after the devastation it has suffered, which is not merely the destruction of its real estate, the buildings, but the incurable ecological devastation that's been inflicted on this very small strip of land, which in my opinion is an unforgivable crime. We can write it off as a collateral damage or warfare. Under war, anything can be justified if you like. But now that some thinking is being done on the post-war scenario, frankly, I don't think the war has ended. I'm of the firm opinion that hostilities will resume in the immediate future. I hope it doesn't happen, but it's bound to happen, irrespective of what you and I think, because the present situation is utterly untenable. So, in order to understand what has happened to Gaza, let me give you an experience of mine. I own a small plot of land and a small dwelling unit in Perukada, where I now live. The land there was incredibly fertile. I can't tell you how fertile my land was, the small plot of 20 cents of land. But in 2011, 2012, some renovation work had to happen because the building I bought was a very old building and it had to be renovated to make it habitable. So I entrusted that work to a contractor and with the specific instruction that whatever debris was created on account of the dismantling, whether of floor or certain portion of the building, should not be buried in the land itself but should be disposed of elsewhere. And he gave me a solemn assurance that that would be done. Of course, I was at that time working in St. Stephen's College and I had therefore no opportunity, no time to supervise the work, and I trusted the contractor with my eyes closed, which is something that you should not do in Kerala, which I did not understand in those days. I thought a modicum of trust was obtained between human beings in Kerala. But every experience since returning to Kerala in 2016 has convinced me now that trusting anyone is tantamount to committing suicide. But that's another issue. What the gentleman did was, he buried every bit of the debris in my own land. The consequence is utter devastation. No matter how hard I try, the farming done in my land becomes a heartbreak. Now, that's a small quantity of debris disposed of in the land and buried 4 feet below the surface. If that be true, and hand to heart I can tell you, it is true, you imagine the millions and millions and millions of tons of debris created by the devastation, the complete destruction of 80% of the buildings standing on Gaza. Where will all this debris go? It cannot be shipped away. It will remain on the land. And then for anyone to think that any agricultural activity, any farm produce can be got out of that place is completely unthinkable. It's unrealistic. It is stupid to the point of insanity. Already, the people of Gaza were being supported and sustained from outside. 85% of water and electricity had to come from outside, from Israel in particular, and international aid had to pour in. What is the prospect for Gaza after all this has happened? But please don't misunderstand me. I am not justifying this atrocity even one bit. Let me make that very clear. I'm somebody who believes that an international cess, hefty international cess must be levied on all warring countries, because the ecological disaster that they create affects not only the two warring countries but also global community. War is a major pollutant of the environment, but nothing is said about it. Whether it be the Ukraine war, whether it be the Israel-Hamas war, or Israel-Hezbollah war, or the prolonged action in Syria, which mostly has now concluded, and wars in different parts of the world. Whoever goes to war must be made to deposit a huge amount of money in a central fund, which can then be used to do anything related to climate change activities. That's again another issue. So I understand the practicality in Trump's idea. After all, Trump is fundamentally a real estate tycoon. So for him, politics is also real estate. So from his perspective, viewed through the lens of real estate, what he's saying is correct. But the problem, of course, is that international politics is not only real estate. And it cannot be that Trump does not know this. For the life of me, I cannot persuade myself to believe that Donald Trump, when he floated this trial balloon, expected international leaders, the global community, to applaud him and to adopt the approach immediately. In fact, I am firmly of the opinion that Trump did not expect anyone other than Netanyahu to endorse him in this view. In fact, he would have calculated on a complete and firm rejection of this proposal to resettle the people of Gaza, Palestinians who had been living in Gaza, elsewhere, wherever that be. It's an idea that was a non-starter. It was an idea that was bound to be rejected at the threshold itself. Then why did he propose the idea? Because he was foolish? No, not at all. Trump is a businessman, and he thinks of international realities in business terms, and surely there is a sense to what he has said. And I'm trying to give you my idea of that particular sense. So let me straight away look at that sense. Now the sense is this. The clue to that sense can be found in the major announcements that President Donald Trump has made so far. He has signed America out of almost all major international commitments involving American dollar, whether it be support to WHO, World Health Organization, to the tune of 500 million US dollars per annum, or the Paris Climate Accord, which is a larger hole on the American pocket, and so on and so forth. Now, the key to Trump's proposal regarding Gaza, can be found in this particular approach. Trump knows that as the next phase, or the third phase actually, of the peace accord, if at all we reach that stage, comes, the reconstruction of Gaza must begin. Who will foot the bill? It's going to be a huge, huge amount of money to be invested. And the global community expects America to bear the brunt, at least a larger portion of the brunt, which has become a global trend. The peculiar situation of America is that everybody expects America to invest heavily everywhere, to be generous with its money, to support wherever people are in need. At the same time, America becomes more and more hated even as it is more and more generous with its support, with its funding. And Trump, being a businessman, understands this only too well, and he knows that it's bad business. So he has now decided that he will not waste American money here, there, and everywhere, and he will consider every American dollar spent or given away as an investment. There must be returns. Now, as far as Gaza is concerned, Donald Trump is particularly clear that this is an investment with absolutely no returns. Therefore, he does not want to invest American money in reconstructing the utterly devastated Gaza. But what's the best way to put across that idea? He really cannot say. It looks clumsy to say America will have no part in the reconstruction of Gaza post the war. The best way to get out of that is to say, well, I gave you a proposal, the only proposal that in my opinion that will work. You have your own proposal, which in my opinion does not work at all. It is a dead investment. It makes absolutely no sense, and therefore count America out of this. So in my opinion, Donald Trump has floated this idea as a kind of, shall we say, advance precaution to get America exempted from the global expectation to invest heavily in the reconstruction of Gaza, because America has a fair degree of moral responsibility for what has happened in Gaza. Therefore, it's not easy for America to turn its face away from the time of reconstruction and to write the check for it. The only way this can be done with a fair degree of, shall we say, conviction, is to say that this is a stupid idea, it's an idea that will not work, and therefore putting American dollar into this project, it's like dumping that much money into the Pacific Ocean or Atlantic Ocean or what have you, or the Mediterranean Sea. Therefore, America does not believe in wasting its resources. If you are interested in implementing what is a blatantly false and stupid idea, then go ahead and do it. Don't count on us for making stupid investments. So America is in anticipation or prospectively being exempted by the shrewd business sense of Donald Trump from having to make huge investments in the reconstruction of Gaza. And that's the only sense in which I can read Donald Trump's statement or argument or proposal that the people of Gaza be resettled elsewhere and Gaza be cleaned up completely and then something new, entirely new, be made out of it. Such a proposal has never occurred in history. It's a proposal that's not likely to find acceptance in any quarter. And Donald Trump was only too aware of this. He did not make this proposal in the anticipation that the global community would applaud the sense behind it, because it makes no sense at all, except the sense in which I have presented it to you. Therefore, the only way this can be understood or as having some sense at all is that this is tantamount to President Donald Bail obtaining a pre-arrest bail, as it were, or something similar to that in terms of the duty that otherwise would become compelling and pressing on America to make huge investments in this region, which at least America under Donald Trump does not want to do. So that's what I thought I would share with you, and let me know what you think about it. As usual, I'm only happy to be instructed and edified by the more appropriate and deeper thinking of my fellow travelers in this enterprise. And I assure you that every opinion expressed is cherished and valued a great deal. Thank you very much. All the very best.